All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 15, of my SevTech Ages of the Sky playthrough. Just cycled through to the next night to see how much starlight I actually get in this upgraded altar now, and it is, a little more than halfway. I don't think that's going to be enough to get me the craft that I need to finish off the coal engine craft. I think that one takes I think it takes a little bit past this thing here, a little over 2/3. So we're gonna have to figure out how to get some more starlight in here. And on this small island, things are really starting to get cramped, so I'm probably gonna move all of my astral sorcery stuff to a different island. So this episode, we're just going to be cleaning up a bunch of other things that have opened up now that we are in Age 2. And the one thing that I didn't touch on in the last episode was how to get starlight into your light well. So in the light well, you can either use the rock crystals or aquamarines. Rock crystals, as a general rule, will get you a lot more starlight than aquamarine. And they are a lot more plentiful in this mod pack than aquamarine. Usually in regular, if you just have astral sorcery in a pack, it's usually the other way around, where aquamarine's a lot more accessible than the the aquamarine's a lot more accessible than the rock crystals, so you use aquamarine in them. So I do have down here a liquid hopper, and that's feeding into a seared tank. I will need the seared tank later for my Tinker's smeltery, but we got to go to the Between Lands before we can actually finish that, so it's just standing there as a place for me to be able to bucket out my starlight into these holes where I've been growing my crystals. So I do have iron buckets now, and even though in the guidebook it tells you that you kind of need to get your smeltery first, you can do it with the porcelain setup, and that's what I'll go over with you folks here in a second. I also have my fully upgraded iron backpacks, my gold backpacks. So I forgot, this is where I needed the wool. So the basic backpack needs 4 wool, 4 leather, and a storage crate. This is all pretty easy crafting, and then the upgrades, you just need to get iron plates. We'll go over getting iron here in a minute or two, because you actually need lava to melt the iron, and then the chest in the basic backpack, and then the gold is just similarly another chest, another thing, and then that gives us a double chest worth of extra storage for things that we can just keep on us while we're out and about. So yeah, to get your iron, once you've found it in the world, to melt it down, you will need the porcelain gauge, and there's 3 different ones that'll work: the porcelain tank and the porcelain window. Each of them takes just a little bit different amount of porcelain, so the tank takes 8, this one takes 6, and then I made the gauge because it only took 4, so it was the least amount of porcelain that I had to make to get what I needed. Glass is super easy. You actually have to put sand into your melter, and you can just do it with the regular heater and some charcoal, and you can make your glass. So I was doing that for quite a bit of the during Age 1, just getting a whole bunch of glass made up so that I had it accessible for when I did get into Age 2 here. So with Tinkers, for those of you who are not familiar with it, there are 5 different stations that we have here, and then you can upgrade your tool station to a tool forge, and then there's also an armor component as well, which I'm not going to be using. A, I don't like it, and B, in this pack there's much better options for you based on the materials we have available. So the crafting station, stencil table, pattern chest, part builder, and tool station are your most basic components, and if you get all of them put together and touching each other, then it forms sort of like a multi-block where you can access the different ones through the tabs up at the top. Now I do suggest getting your stencil table attached to your pattern chest and your pattern chest attached to your part builder in such a way that when you make a pattern from here, you can just put it in your pattern chest, and then when you switch over to your part builder, the pattern chest is also there, so it's just super easy to switch to your different patterns. And then the tool station there, if you want to make the pickaxe, you'll see you'll need one of these guys, and you just got to figure it out from the stencil table. Oh, that looks like the thing that it is there, which is the tool rod. And then when you upgrade your tool station up to the tool forge, you'll get a bunch more of extra items that you can make there, although I don't think we can do that to age 3 in this pack. And I don't really need it at this point right now, so I haven't gone forward to do that. A note about crafting stations is that they can see anything that's in an inventory that's placed beside it. So all of this stuff is in my wooden crate there, so that gets really handy for crafting. If you can get your get a storage thing put beside your crafting station, and then all of that's all the rest of your Tinker's items there. And then the last main component of all of Tinker's is getting the smeltery up, but to get the smeltery, we do need the controller. And the smeltery controller actually requires this item from the Between Lands, so we can't get that going just yet. We'll have to go through the Between Lands before we can get there. So when I was out and about getting my gold and my rock crystals and my iron, I did manage to dig up a bunch of marble, and I totally underestimated how much marble I'm going to need. I said about 6 stacks. I'm probably going to double down on that and go 10, if not 12 stacks of marble to do all of the stuff that I want to do with Astral Sorcery in this playthrough. I've also gotten a head start on all of my Tinker's Smeltery stuff. I've got bricks made up, my drain, I've got the table and the basin and the faucets made up there, which is why this looks a little disjointed, but in the long run, I won't be using the porcelain ones anymore, and it'll just be the seared versions that I use going forward. The other thing that you get some new enemies in addition to the Endermans. There are some mobs that will start to drop ice, and you definitely want to save this. Don't put it down in your world anywhere because it will melt if you're not in a cold biome, but just store it for now. You can actually chisel it and then it won't melt when you put it into the world, but we'll go over why you want that ice in a later episode. And then likewise for making the buckets, you just have to make the stone bucket. Oh. It would help if I put that in there, which is just 3 cobblestone or 3 stone together, and then you pour it into a cast, and each cast takes 2 gold. So if you got some gold in your smeltery and you put down your table, then you put your whatever you want cast. So if I needed a pickaxe head, then I just make it out of cobblestone, something that doesn't burn, and then I put it in there, pour 2 gold on top of it. It will consume the pickaxe head, but then you'll have a cast which you can use to make it out of different materials. So I mentioned I made mine out of bronze, and copper. Just from the book there, the materials in new book, you can math out the bonuses, the extra abilities, and the mining speeds, damage, durabilities, all that stuff to what you want. So the second best option for handles is bone. So if you're lacking in bronze, maybe choose bone as your secondary item. The other thing about the iron backpack is they don't actually go in your backpack slot. So remember I mentioned a few episodes ago about the improved backpacks mods. These ones do go into your backpack slot and would take up a slot in your inventory, but to access it you will need to reconfigure the hotkey. So in here, if we look at our controls, and the default key is B, but it conflicts with a bunch of extra things. So you'll just have to, so open backpack is set to B, so you'll either have to rebind that one or rebind all the other ones that are conflicting with B itself. So that's just a hint there. So if you really want to go that super extra mile on the storage, definitely go ahead and make that improved backpack ones, because it'll give you this about, once you get up to the gold tier, it'll give you, I think, the same amount of storage as this one, so you can have 2 double chests of extra storage, and then you'll only be using up 1 slot for your improved backpacks. And you can even put your iron backpack inside an improved backpack's backpack, so you can really get into storageception there if that's your thing, especially in this mod pack where you're going around and flying around all over to different islands all over the place. That was everything I was going to touch on in this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Click the thumbs up button, leave a comment if you have any questions. Thank you all. I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.